Hey, this is Rob from jtrpodcast.com, and I'm really happy because I finally got to play Age of Steam, the classic Martin Wallace route building train game from 2002. What you're doing is you're using money to build track, and then you're using that track to transport goods, and transporting goods will increase your income, which you can then use to gain money to build more tracks and build better routes and do more stuff. Increase your engine level in order to be able to transport goods farther, which will then give you more income hopefully, and you'll hopefully escalate upwards from there and end up winning the game by having the most points. So this is one of those games that's very, very simple. There are very few rules. It's just you've got to do it right, and it's quite difficult to do it right. So you're not going to get a strategy guide from me because I'm terrible. But you are going to get the sort of overview of how to play the game. So if you look at this board, this kind of shows where everybody's points are, their income, how many shares they've got, what their engine level is, and the turn order. Now, obviously, all those little tokens there are with the game. I don't know about the player board. I don't know if that's self-made or whether that came with the game or not, but it looks homemade. I'm not sure whether it's an official one or not, but it does the job either way. It doesn't matter. Obviously, the little toy trains were a little pimp out extra that the game owner did. They don't come with the game, they are available at a toy store near you, I suppose. But basically you're going to be looking at that top track that goes up to 15, and on your turn, at the beginning of your turn, in turn order, you're going to go around and you're going to decide whether you want to share or not. Now I think you could jump as far ahead on that track as you like. For every space you move, you're going to get £5 or $5, whatever the currency is. And that's one of the few ways to get money. So you can move a couple of spaces on that track, or usually just one because it's important. We'll get to that in a bit. So for every space you move on that, you're going to get $5. Then you're going to determine player order, and how you do that is in turn order you will make a bid, and then you'll go around and you can either increase the bid or you can pass. If you pass, you drop out, you pay your last bid amount. You can bid 0 and go last if you want, just drop out and you just go into 4th place. But it'll go around till everyone's passed. Eventually whoever's going to win the bid, they'll pay all the money they've bid as well, and they'll go to 1st place, and then you'll start to select your actions. And that takes place on this other board, so ignore all the numbers and letters at the top and all the cubes. We'll get into those in a bit, but look, if you look at the bottom, they've got all these different actions. So you've got first move, and underneath the purple token there is first build. We'll get into moving and building in a bit. You can be the engineer, which is going to allow you to build an extra piece of track. You can build 3, but if you place your token on the engineer, you're going to be able to build 4 on your turn, and get to that in a bit. The locomotive lets you increase your engine level by 1. Underneath the red token there is urbanization, which is going to allow you to build a city. Production lets you add 2 goods, which is taking these cubes off this top bit and putting them onto the board, onto the various cities. Well, again, I'll get to that in a bit. And then the turn order allows you to pass. So when you're bidding for turn order in the next round, you can pass once and then come back in later on, and that's actually more useful than it sounds. I didn't think that was very good until I got it the first time, and I actually put it to some good use. So that's selecting actions. Then you go to build track. You've got a stack of these tiles with all the different track orientations on them, and what you do is you decide where you're going to build, and then you lay them out paying a cost. So it costs $2 to place in an empty space, $3 if it's on a river, $4 if it's in the mountains on the edge of the board. You can see them on the bottom right hand side of the board there. It just costs a lot of money to build. That's all you need to know. Because it is quite expensive. You can only build 3 tiles. As I said, you can build 4 if you selected the engineer action. Of course, you get to build first if you selected the build first action. And everybody gets to do that once. So once everybody's built track, you then get to move goods. And when you move goods, you've got 2 options. Of course, if you select move first, you will move first regardless of turn order. You start turn order. It's not just that you go first. Turn order starts from wherever you are in turn order and continues onwards. Just while remember, actually, when you build track, you then put one of your trains on it to show that you control it. So that's something. But back to moving. You're trying to move the cubes in a city to a city of a matching colour. So you're trying to get a blue cube to blue cities, purple cubes to purple cities, etc. And to do that, you need to count the points from where it is to where it's going to be. So if you count every city that you're going to go through, and that counts as 1 point, and you're limited by your current engine level. So you need to increase the engine level in order for you to move through more cities to deliver cubes further away. Instead of moving a cube on your turn, you can increase your engine level by 1 as well. But you only get 2 actions regardless of what you do. So if you move your engine level, you're only going to be able to move 1 cube on your turn. And then you get income for that. So if you move down 3 of your tracks, quite simply, you get 3 income. If you move down 2 of your tracks and 1 of somebody else's, you'll get 2 income, they'll get 1 income. Again, it's all very simple. Then you pay your income, and if you look at my purple counters, I'm on 1 income, that's the one in the top left. So I've got 1 money. My issue shared, I've got 3 shares, so that's -3, so now I'm -2. And my engine level is 1, so I'm on -3. So I need to pay 3 money to the bank. For every money I can't pay, I move back 1 on the income track. If I move to below 0, I believe it might be 0 below, but I think it's if you move below 0, you are eliminated from the game, which actually happened in our game on round 2. So it is possible to do. Next comes the goods growth, which means we need to go back to this board here, and we're looking at the top bit now. We're looking at the numbers and the letters. The goods cubes are there, and what you do is you've got the 6 dice and you roll them. You roll them first for the left hand side, and then you roll them for the right hand side. So the left hand side's numbered 1 to 6, so if that was the roll there, 2, 3, 4, 4, 6, we'd take the cubes from the top left corner block. We'd take cube 2, cube 3, 2 from 4 and 1 from 6, and they would go on the board on the cities matching those numbers. So the 2 from number 4 would go into number 4. Now the letters underneath are cities that we can build through urbanisation, where we replace those white discs with cities. You can see that A, B, C and D is under 3, 4, 5 and 6. If you roll 3, 4, 5 and 6, not only do you take off the cube off the top rows, you also add 1 from the bottom row if that city happens to be built, and then you do the same for the black cities on the right hand side of the board. And if you took the production action, the action down at the bottom there, you get to add 2 goods back onto that track before you roll the dice. One thing I forgot to mention is that once you've done your income and you've paid your money or gained your money, as you will do later on in the game as you build these longer routes and your income's higher, you will have a reduction of income, and you can see the score track, the income track around the outside of the board is in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different colours, and you can see they've got the income reduction points on there. So if you're in the yellow, after you've worked out your income and expenditure, you'll then move back 2 spaces on that track. And that's what that -2 means. If you look at the pink track on the left, you're going to go back 8 spaces. So the more money you've got, the more successful your railroad company is, the more upkeep you've got to pay on it, and so your income starts to reduce. And you play a number of rounds depending on the number of players. The fewer the players, the fewer the rounds you play. And then you go to end game scoring, which is you get 3 times your income minus the number of shares you've got issued. So if your income is 30 and you've got 10 shares, you're going to score 3 times 20, so that's going to be 60. You get 1 for every track section that's in completed railroad links that you've got on the board, and you add that onto your income, and whoever's got the most is the winner. So the positives, as I said a few times, it is a very simple game to play. There's very few rules, there's not too many niggly rules either. It's very straightforward. It's an interesting game where you can't go too quick at the beginning because you need to make sure you're holding money back. You can't just build 3 rails just because you can. You need to make sure that you're balancing your income with the number of shares you're going to be able to get, with your engine strength, with how much income you're going to be able to get based on how much you're spending, and try and balance that all together to make sure you stay afloat till you get to the point where you can push, get those extra shares, because you know you're going to be able to get the engine size and deliver the goods to get the income to cover everything you spend. And it's so clever. I can understand why it's so popular and why it's still going 16 years later. The downsides, I mean, obviously having player elimination in it isn't fun, especially for a 2-hour long game. But then again, it's technically your fault, I think. I think you go bankrupt because you pushed too quick at the beginning. I mean, of the 4 players we played with, 3 were new, I believe. The person who played it before won, and 2 of the people that hadn't played before, one of them got eliminated on round 2. I was close. I went down to 1 income at one point. I had to drop some income down from 4 to 1, and I was really struggling to get back in the game because I wasn't able to increase my income, which means I didn't take a share. And because I didn't take a share, I didn't have the money to build a rail to be able to deliver any goods to increase my income. So I played that round wrong. Obviously, I know now going again that you just got to you just got to balance it, basically. I can't explain how to do that because I'm not very good. But I'm sure there's plenty of strategy guides out there if you want to read them. I'm not a strategy guide person. I'd rather play it and learn. But it's such a good game. It's hard to explain, but I really enjoyed it. That's Age of Steam from Martin Wallace. Remember to like this video if you found it useful, share it to let others know about it, and subscribe to the channel for more Game Day First Play videos as well as other board game related content. You can follow me on Twitter at JTR Podcast, support the show at patreon.com/JTR Podcast, and find the blog and the podcast at jtrpodcast.com. I've been Rob, aka Jesta ThaRogue, and I'll see you soon.